Hello, I'm Hannah Absalom.
And I'm the long-suffering Alex Absalom.
And we are in the middle of a 4-week teaching series on the spiritual battle. So we've done how to be filled with the Holy Spirit, how to unpacking the gift of tongues. Today we are going to look at how to step into spiritual warfare that's on the offensive. And then next time we are going to look at a simple template for deliverance.
Sorry,
Go
interrupted
ahead.
you. All right, so jumping into today's topic. So spiritual warfare that's on the offensive, not just defensive. So here's how we want to set this up. So at the cross, one of the things that Jesus did was to totally defeat the demonic realm. So he's broken Satan. He's broken Satan's forces, the whole demonic realm. Now, the full enforcement of that won't take place until Jesus returns and the final judgment, and obviously Revelation speaks into what happens to the final judgment of Satan and his minions. So in this in-between time, between the first and the second coming, where the kingdom is now, but also is not yet, we're in this in-between space here, we join Jesus in helping advance his active kingly rule wherever we live, work, learn and play. And so, an example, we're told to keep on battling against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. That's Ephesians 6:12. So spiritual warfare, if you want to define it, in its very essence, is recognizing that we are part of a cosmic battle between Jesus, his actively advancing kingdom rule, and it's the retreating but still viciously wicked opposition of the evil one. Now, it's not yin and yang. It's not like who's going to win. We know who is the greater force to win. That Jesus is far, far, far greater. But Satan can pick off humans, and so he's an awful adversary for us. He does prowl around seeking people to devour, but nevertheless, we're not fearful. We're not walking under his control in that realm. And we recognize that as we join Jesus in advancing his kingdom, we're called to extend Jesus' active rule, and that's where we can actually go on the offensive. So why don't you talk into that?
So basically, when we think of spiritual warfare, I would say we more normally think of defensive. So we're being attacked, the enemy's coming against us, we need our spiritual armour.
Circle the wagons.
Yeah. Hunker down, let's, take our stand against the enemy. However, we want to argue that it is equally biblical to be on the offensive, to be taking ground from the enemy, to be advancing and not just defending. So we have got some scriptures here, Matthew 11 verse 12. And from the time that John the Baptist began preaching until now, the kingdom of heaven has been forcefully advancing and violent people are attacking it. So almost, having violent people attacking it, but it shows us that there's sort of power and there is warfare aspects to what we should be doing. We should be attacking the almost the gates of hell, and we should be going on the advance to take ground from the enemy that he's stolen since the fall. Luke 4:18. He has sent me to proclaim freedom for the prisoners and recovery of sight for the blind, to set the oppressed free. So again, that's what Jesus said, why he came, but implicitly that's what we're supposed to be doing as well. We're supposed to be freeing the captives, setting people free, seeing people see and stuff like that, which is, I think, compelling. So that is what offensive warfare looks like. How can we take ground from the enemy? How can we see those captives freed? So it might be healing. It might be just, speaking words of life, or, telling people about Jesus. So evangelism. But, anything that is going on the offensive to win back what the enemy has stolen from Jesus in the first place.
So some other examples would be when we minister deliverance to someone, so setting them free from perhaps a fear or an anxiety or an addiction. When we serve, so when we're generous, when we give to the poor or the needy, when we create an authentic community that's got Jesus at the centre of it, that's an advance for the kingdom. As Hannah mentioned, obviously, when we witness and share our faith, when we share a prophetic word with someone. So when we step into the miraculous.
When worship.
When we worship, that's a massive act of spiritual warfare. The enemy hates it. Demons hate being around the worship of Jesus. So we're called to live like this. And so I think we need to perhaps have a paradigm shift, which is let's not live in that, we're under attack, we're just like Jesus come rescue us from this lifeboat. That's poor theology. That's not the picture that Jesus paints for us in the Gospels. Instead, while we're wise and we're not just gung-ho in a foolish way. But at the same time, overall, generally, we're still called to be part of this picture of Jesus' kingdom is forcefully advancing, and we join him in intentionally and deliberately advancing his kingdom wherever we have that opportunity. So that's what it means to be on offensive spiritual warfare.
So what we would love you to do for homework for this week sometime is to just take some time and ask the Lord to open your eyes to the spiritual warfare going on around you. And maybe some of that is, a defensive way you're being attacked. But we want you to particularly think of this offensive way of doing spiritual warfare. So what are you currently doing in your life or in the life of your church community, which is actively taking ground from the enemy? But also maybe ask the Lord, how does he want to help you push into this more? So where you are actively being aware of and engaged in, maybe it's in your neighborhood or your workplace or wherever, who knows where, but to go and actively take ground from the enemy. Ask the Lord how he can grow you in that.
So that's your homework. Step into that this week very practically. You might need to just get your calendar out right now and put a bit of time where you can do that, or maybe you can stop now and do that. But be looking for these things and reflect on them over these days ahead. In addition, if you want to go further with this, 2 resources. We've created the Naturally Supernatural course, so naturallysupernatural.course.com, which is designed particularly for groups to work through this whole area of living a naturally supernatural lifestyles. Tons of great content. It comes in video teachings with little course books that go with it. There's a block of 6 sessions in there which are around this whole topic of warfare. So I think you'll find that super helpful to use in your context. So check that out. And if you are a leader in the kingdom and you would like some more personal coaching from us, we run small online coaching cohorts, the Naturally Supernatural cohort, and that's the space where you can get that from us over a year-long process. So again, those will be links in the notes that go with this.
So thanks for listening, and we hope to see you next time.